Welcome sa Mathfield. We are now in our third video. Ang gitawag na to define terms. In our introduction, you know na upat ka categories ang topic kit sa mathematical system. Karon na gitawag na define terms. In the previous video as well, naputay gitawag na undefined term or undefined terms, which is mo itong gitawag na line, point, katong plane. We only have three undefined terms. Karon sa kay na video atong target sa material na to na video kay ang defined terms. Unsa nang defined terms in geometry? This is very important kay with the undefined term which give rise nabuhi ang saka defined term because of undefined term. So importante kay ni siya sa geometry kay mao ni ang basihan nato sa mga theorem, sa mga postulate kung pag-apply to na to ng mga terms. So let's continue. We have here, these are all basic definition in geometry. Space is a set of all points. So if you have points there on our plane, we can make a space. So if you can see a cube, actually that is a space set of all points. So next idea is collinear points are points that are lying on the same plane. So if you can form a straight line, that is collinear points. Co means same, and the word linear here. So here, co means same. The idea of co, same, and the word line, linear here, same line. So that's the two words, one word referring to two terms, two ideas. So this is what the concept of collinear points all about. The illustration you can see here on the screen, A, B, and C are actually a collinear points. So we have already have two definitions or two terms, space and the collinear points. Now let's proceed to the next. We have here non-collinear points. So in comparison, collinear means same line. That is a point, those are points forming a straight line. So the straight line is here, as you can see. So as you can see, there's a straight line here. This is collinear, same line. Now let's proceed to non-collinear. These are points that are not lying on the same plane. So basically, this illustration is a false representation because maybe this is my bad, but this is a wrong representation. If you if you can uh, if you focus on the word non, which means if we have here, this should have another points here. For example, this is D, and this is what we are now called non-collinear points. This cannot lie in the same plane, so are not lying on the same plane, or cannot form a straight line. So A, B, C are non-collinear points. So maybe you are confused with this, but the idea here is A, B, C are non-collinear points. Non-collinear means they don't form a straight line. As a group, again, as a group, they will not form a straight line. Coplanar. So coplanar points are points that are lying in the same plane. Again, the word here, the word same. Yeah, the word same here is similar to the word co. So coplane, coplanar points. So this is the coplanar, same plane. And points ABC are coplanar. So as you can see, this is a kind of parallelogram with ABC as their points. And this is now what we call coplanar. Non-coplanar points. Non-coplanar points are points that are not lying on the same plane. So maybe you can visualize actually a kind of cube. So if you have this Rubik's cube, for example, just imagine a Rubik's cube. If you have a Rubik's cube, there are points there that will have the same, not the same plane, which means if you have a box, so if you have a box here, there are points on our front, and there are points also that above the box. So non-coplanar points. So one plane and another plane above. So non-coplanar, not same. So they're not the same plane. Midpoint. So the color red here is the midpoint. So midpoint divides a segment into two congruent segments. So basically, a midpoint is the middle point, having 3 points in the given statement. So we can make a midpoint with that as a point in between. So this have the same distance and this also have the same distance. For example, this have three distance units and they have three distance units. Their middle is letter A. That's a midpoint. Divide a segment into two congruent segment. A line segment is a part of a line that's bounded. So line segment actually it's a line that is cut. So as you can see, B and A are a line segment. A part of a line is bounded. So when you say bounded, it should stop there in that particular place. Distinct points contains every point in a line between endpoints. So that's the line segment. Next is angle bisector. An angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into congruent adjacent angles. So angle bisector, in comparison to the midpoint a while ago, in the midpoint concept, it's a point in the middle of a straight line. And in comparison to angle bisector, it's a ray. Again, it's a ray in the middle of an angles, two angles. So that divides an angle in two congruent adjacent angles. That is angle bisector. So DB, the ray DB, is the angle bisector of angle ABDC. So here's E, D, and C are the angles with the angle bisector ray DB. So it means also that angle 1, which is the angle 1, is equal to angle 2. So that's the idea of angle bisector. Segment bisector. So segment bisector basically it's a kind of midpoint, but it is formed by a segment. So middle, again, a segment that divides a segment into two congruent segments. So in this illustration, we can see A, P, H, here M as our segment bisector. Parallel lines. This is very common. Parallel lines are two non-coplanar lines that do not intersect. So no matter how we extend the two lines there, they cannot meet or intersect in particular point. That's what we call parallel lines. So here, line M is parallel to the line N. So symbol M, this is the symbol of parallel lines. M with the two lines with N. Perpendicular. Perpendicular lines are two lines intersect to form a right angles. Again, right angles. This is very crucial here. Perpendicular lines can form two right angles. So for example, here is right angle 1 and here's 1. So angle LV, the line LV is a perpendicular line with the line segment OE. So line segment OE is perpendicular to line segment LV. So LV is the vertical, OE is a segment that is horizontal and forming an angle 1 as a right angle. That's a perpendicular lines there. So actually the LV, the horizontal, the vertical LV line segment and the vertical OE are what we call perpendicular lines. And the form for perpendicular lines is this one. Now, complementary angles. Complementary angles, basically, if you have two angles, their total is always equal to 90 degrees. So if you have here angle 1 plus angle 2 is 90 degrees. This should have a degree symbol here. Yeah, that's a complementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles that can be summed up to 180 degrees. So if you have angle 1 here in this side and you have another angle there, that is supplementary angles. Vertical angles. Vertical angles by definition are opposites, which means it's like a scissors. If you have front and the back, they are always equal. That's why angle 1 here is equal to the measure of angle 2. So the measure of angle 1 is the same to the measure of angle 2. For example, this is 45 degrees. And therefore, if 45 degrees is the angle 1, the measure of angle 2 also is 45 degrees because they are equal. That's the definition of vertical angles. Acute angle is an angle between 0 to 90. Basically, this is the concept of acute angles. Acute angle. Again, we are just talking about angle. So what is angle? Opening. So acute angle is an angle that is smaller to 90 but larger than 0. If you right angle, exactly 90. Exactly 90, right angle. Obtuse. This is more than 90 but less than 180. So this is the obtuse angle. Again, more than or greater than 90 and but less than 180. Straight angle. This is straight angle, 180 degrees. Exactly 180 degrees. Acute triangle. So from the angles, the triangle is born. Acute triangle is triangle with acute angles. So again, what is acute angles? Smaller than 90. This is acute triangle. Right triangle is a triangle with one right angle and two acute angles, of course. And obtuse triangle, only one obtuse angle. So ACB here, A, C, and B, this is more than 90, but less than 180 degrees. And we have two here, two acute angles, the angle A and angle B. So angle B, or this is ACB, ACB, this is the obtuse angle, and the ABC, or you can backward, but ABC, this one, ABC, ABC, and the another one is B, or this is CAB. CAB is acute angles because their measurement is less than 90 but greater than 0 degrees. Scalene, no sides congruent. So actually, triangle can be classified into two categories with regards to angles and with regards to sides. Scalene is a triangle with no equal or congruent sides. So we're referring to the sides here. So that's why we use the segment AD and DG. Isosceles triangle with regards to sides as well. Two sides equal or congruent is isosceles triangle. So this is the symbol for congruent, this kind of symbol there. Line segment CT, and the line segment TA is isosceles because they have the same or congruent two sides. Angular triangle, with regards to the angle, you have congruent, the same angles. Equilateral, lateral means sides, that's why lateral, equal sides. Adjacent means they are neighboring, the same, consecutive. It's adjacent. For example, angle 1 is adjacent to angle 2, meaning they have the same endpoints. They are sharing one endpoint. They are sharing one common endpoint. So what's the endpoint here? This is the endpoint that 1 and 2 share. That is what we call adjacent angles. So there you have it for your activity. Can you describe this one, please? So the 1 to 10 questions there, what is two lines and so on and so forth. Thank you for your time watching.